I wasn't going to go on and do a show this weekend. But the reason why we're here, producer Chris.
Yes.
Welcome.
Hey.
The reason we're here is because Opie went off this week, and I have a bunch of clips that I have to play because it'll get old by next weekend. I feel it's very important that we get to it right now. So without further ado.
Bum, 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 bum.
All right. Opie decided to do this thing on his YouTube channel where he said, just ask me questions and I'll answer anything that you guys ask. This is like what Stuttering John does too. And it's such a bad decision to make because people are going to ask questions about what he doesn't want to talk about, or maybe he does. Seems like maybe he does, which is Anthony and Jim Norton and all the Opie and Anthony shit that's going on. So it starts off with a question about Sam Roberts, and Opie immediately gets into bashing Sam.
Kevin McCauley, Sam has zero wit or charm. I agree with you, man. He's, he had a decent career going on his own, and he was growing and expanding and building an audience, and then he just lied down and became stagnant. He never expanded his horizon, to talk about other things on the radio. So I agree with you.
All right, so according to Opie, Sam is the one who's become stagnant. Now, you might not know this, Chris, but Sam hosts a morning radio show every day on Sirius XM with Jim Norton. He also has the Not Sam Wrestling podcast. This is a show that I've made fun of, by the way. But it's not that he's not doing things, that he's stagnant. He also hosts a WWE pay-per-view kickoff shows. He has a weekly live YouTube stream called Sam Roberts Now. He does an interview show called In the Not Sam Studio. He also has embarrassing merch, just like Opie does, where you can buy t-shirts with his likeness on the front of it. I don't know why anyone would do that. My point is that Sam's very busy.
It doesn't sound stagnant.
He's not stagnant. He's doing a lot of things. And the fact that Opie would say that, and all it took was, hey, I don't think that Sam's all that good. And Opie's like, yeah, and not only that, he's not growing as a person. Like, Opie, what? Coming from Opie, that's fucking laughable, obviously. So, all right. So then it gets into them asking about Anthony Cumia. And Anthony responded to Opie talking about Ant, and Anthony put that up on YouTube. So typically Ant shows behind a paywall on Compound Media, but there's a 35-minute, we went into it, we played some clips from it last week, and Ant put that up on YouTube so anyone could go and watch it. And so people have watched that, and they're asking Opie about it.
Did you see Anthony's recent video about you? He says you should have continued O&A with him when he got fired. Oh, tell him to go fuck himself. The O&A show was dead way before he got fired. He turned our whole show into one big racist, gun-talking rant. There was no Opie and Anthony show anymore. Tell him to go fuck himself. Enough already. And he's gonna make believe he wasn't building a whole goddamn studio in the basement of his house and it had nothing to do with me. God, I wish I could go back and just change time and change reality. What is he talking about? What an idiot.
So this is why this format isn't good for Opie, because people can just make shit up and Opie reacts to it as if it's real. Did you hear what Anthony said? He said you're a child molester. What? He said I'm diddling kids. He's a fucking asshole. Where does he get off doing it? It's like, Opie, this is the same thing that happened to Stuttering John. People just make shit up and lie to him, and then he overreacts to it because he's a moron. Like, Opie has become Stuttering John, which is hard to do. And when you have a format like this, it invites the trolls. You're asking for it.
Oh, completely.
Because if you're going to react to any type of question, you hear what Anthony said? Like, that setup right there is worth a million laughs. Like, did you hear what Anthony said? Fill in the blank. I mean, anything you want. And Ope's just going to go off because he's a fucking moron.
And he gave advice to Stuttering John about how to deal with this shit.
He did.
Too.
That's right.
It was pretty sage advice. And here he goes. He's about to go high pitch. I'm just guessing.
Oh, that's funny that you say that, because someone calls him out on his voice. This is great. I love that he's just like letting the trolls come in. It's so fun.
Speaking a regular voice for 5 minutes. Bet you can't do it. What's the big? Is that a thing now? Because I fool around with some of my words. Is that a thing? Trying to make it interesting to me as well, my friend.
So that's interesting right there. That's an interesting response. So he's making those silly voices that he does to make it interesting for himself. Well, Opie, what if you just said interesting things? That would be interesting for yours. You wouldn't have to have silly voices if you were just an interesting person and had something to say. And I love that he acts like, come on, man, I'm just doing this because it's fun for me. But he's obviously self-conscious because then he catches himself immediately after that.
Rachel just wants to say, whoops. This guy wants to say, I like Opie. See, there's the voice just went up on that. Opie.
Yep, it sure did. You weirdo. I love it. All right, so getting back to people asking about Anthony and Anthony's response to Opie. God, how many times have we said this?
Jesus.
I know. It just goes around and around, but it's still fun. Someone asked, Opie, have you watched the video? It's readily available, like I said, on YouTube. You can watch it and see what Anthony had to say about what Opie had to say.
Anthony went off about you. You got to watch it. Why? Why would I do that to myself? Why?
The reason why you would watch that, Opie.
Why?
Is so you could respond to the actual things that Anthony said instead of the made-up shit that the trolls are telling you he said. That is why, unless you don't address it at all, which then great, don't watch it. Like, don't ignore everything. But if you're going to acknowledge it and respond to it in a 30-minute long episode, feel free to watch it so that you know what the fuck you're talking about. So Opie goes on to explain this idea. What Opie said was that they offered a comedian $1 million after Anthony was fired, and they wanted to push Jim Norton out, and they wanted to bring this other comedian in. And he says it wasn't Jim Brewer, by the way. Opie says. He claims it's not Jim Brewer. They did have another thing going on with Jim Brewer at a separate incident, but this specific time after Anthony was fired, and they were looking to bring in this other comedian who refused it. And this is the reason why Sirius wanted to do that.
One of these guys they were very, very interested in, and they offered him $1 million to do the show with me. And they thought that would be a great way to, keep a lot of the O&A audience in place because there was a lot of turmoil there. And then maybe I could rebuild it, and maybe I could bring some of the people that left after Anthony did his racist rants for years and his stupid gun talk for fucking years. That was the strategy that they were hoping for. And then this guy got nervous, and when you get on Anthony's bad side, it's a royal pain in the ass, as you probably have figured out by now. He gets his tentacles in you. He doesn't fucking let go. And this person was nervous of that, and also nervous how it would be perceived with the rest of the comedy community.
So a couple things going on there. Opie is explaining that SiriusXM wanted to get the audience back. We've alienated all of these people who didn't like what Anthony had to say. So let's fire Jim Norton and bring in another comedian to bring the audience back. Makes no sense because currently they have Jim Norton as the morning show host, as Anthony has pointed out.
For a guy coming from outside the O&A universe, can you clarify for me this gun-toting talk and racist talk? Was that really a thing?
So Anthony would go off on rants quite a bit. He'd use a lot of crime statistics in his rants.
That's funny
And when
stuff.
you bring up crime statistics, there's specific races that come up more often than not, I'll be honest. And Ant's also a big Second Amendment guy.
Okay.
Loves the guns, loves shooting the guns. And, that is a certain audience who enjoys that sort of thing. But the thing with Anthony is comedy first. Anthony was an entertainer, and he liked to be funny. And, I'm sure there were things that alienated certain people in the audience, but it also attracted a lot of people in the audience. And so now Opie's trying to rewrite history here and say SiriusXM fired him and wanted to recreate the show in a way that was like, oh, we know you all hated Anthony, but now come back because it's Anthony free radio over here on SiriusXM, which I'm not buying it, but this is what he's claiming. And now here's a great question that comes in from one of the viewers.
Why is it that everyone, Jimmy, Sam, Anthony, E-Rock, etc., all don't like you and are all cool with each other? How many people before you wonder if you are the problem? Those guys are whatever, but you're not mentioning all the people I actually still get along with?
Okay. So this is where it gets really funny. how come they all get along with each other still? And Opie says, well, no, you don't even know. I have tons of people that I still get along with. Wrong answer. Because he's answered this before. And what he used to say was, well, I was the boss over there and I was making a lot of decisions. So I wasn't able to be a personal friend with these people because, it was business and those guys had it easy. They could just show up for work and be chumps. Now Opie is changing that. Opie, that's your answer, by the way, just so you know. Next time, remember, that's your answer. Now he's saying, well, no, I have tons of friends too. I mean, what do you mean that they're the only ones who are friends with each other?
And they're not friends. No one was ever friends. You know that, right? Show me social media posts where these guys are hanging out in a friendly way. Show me, please. I beg you. Where they're hanging out, fishing together, or having a barbecue, or going out to dinner, or hanging at each other's houses. Show me.
All right. I can't show you a social media post because I'm a straight man and have my own friends, so I'm not following them on Instagram. But what's interesting here is that the guy said, why are they all so cool with each other and you're not cool with any of those guys? And he turns it immediately into they're not even friends or anything. You can't even prove it using social media. But I can show you Jim and Anthony and Sam and E-Rock and Eastside Dave and Kenny and Garrett and Bobo and Big A. They're all doing shows together. And Opie's not doing any of these shows. And it's funny, too, because Opie is desperate for guests. And he's constantly talking about O&A. So you'd think it'd be great to have Sam Roberts on the show or E-Rock on the show. And none of these people go on his show. So it's a pretty valid question. Why does no one get along with you? And yet they're all doing each other's shows and we see them together all the time. Opie can't even get the comedians he used to have on regularly. I don't see Rich Voss, Joe DeRosa, Robert Kelly, any of these guys doing Opie's show. So there's something up here. That's a good question to ask. What's up with that? And Opie's like, well, no, I have friends from that show. Who?
Oh, a couple of them died.
Well, that's true. I know. I was thinking about the funny T-Rex shirt where it's like, all my friends are dead. Well, someone made that for Opie, I think, at one point. It's a funny shirt, but anyway, it's mean.
But that is a child's response. It's like, yeah, I did this thing wrong, but what about these things I did right?
So, yes, brilliant observation. Hold on to that because Opie originally, when he was addressing how no one likes him from the old Opie and Anthony show and even Sirius XM, he was saying, I've gone and done the work and I'm trying to get healthy and get better. Good answers. He has totally switched 180 from that now. And now it's everyone's fault but his. Listen how passive aggressive this is.
If it makes us, sleep better at night, there you go. I'm the problem. I just want to be left alone.
So he was saying before, he's like, yeah, I was hard to work with. I understand it, but I was the boss and that's what I had to do. And I'm working on it and I'm trying to get better. And now he's like, okay. You think I'm the asshole? If it makes you feel fucking better, sure. I'm the asshole, all right? Is that what you want to hear?
So the format for his show is he just wants to be left alone on the internet.
He's just doing a live stream where he's answering people's questions and just wants to be left alone. This guy's great. And then he really goes deep on fucking everyone. He trashes everyone. It's insane.
The fact is, Sam never liked Jimmy, okay? Jimmy told me that Anthony did something to him that he would never forgive him for. Anthony never respected E-Rock. Sam hates E-Rock. E-Rock doesn't like Sam. I think Jimmy's just indifferent to E-Rock. This is all horseshit that you bought into.
Opie hasn't talked to any of these people in years and knows all of their interpersonal relationships somehow. This is so much projecting. It's insane. He goes, Anthony has no respect for E-Rock. Anthony hired E-Rock. E-Rock works at Compound Media. He's a producer over there. So your lies are stupid lies. They're lies that are like easily disproven. It's dumb. You're like a dumb person, Opie, when you say these things. Sam and Jim don't get along. They've been doing a radio show together for years. Maybe they don't get along, but it's insane to think that their relationship isn't good enough that they can keep things moving here.
This could be wildly inaccurate, but he sounds jealous.
I know. All right, it gets better.
Sam came running over to my house after Anthony got fired and said, while you're out, you should, make a clean slate here or whatever. And you should get the company to fire Jimmy. But yeah, they're all friends and get along. You're full of shit.
All right. He just said that Sam wanted to get Jim Norton fired after Anthony was fired from the show. This is what a crazy person would say, because most people aren't trying to get other people fired. They're not looking to get coworkers fired. Opie obviously does think that way, but I guarantee you mentally sound people are not looking to get people fired. And it was very odd the way he said that too, where he was like, while you're at it, we should get Jim out of here too. While you're at it. Opie has said that he had nothing to do with Anthony getting fired and that he went to bat for him with management. And now he's saying that Sam came over to his house and said, all right, Anthony's gone, sweet. While we're at it, let's also blow out Jim Norton. Like, Sam wouldn't say that. It's insane. That's an insane thing to say. Sam's friends with Anthony and Jim. It doesn't make any sense. I shouldn't say friends. I'm sorry. They're cool with each other. I don't see them going on fishing trips together on Instagram, so I can't say that they're fucking friends or whatever Opie defines as friendship. And Opie talking about friendship is fucking hilarious too. But all right, I don't want to pile on too much. Let's. This is him continuing to talk about how they're not friends.
It's obvious moving forward. You can check social media. None of those guys are hanging out. They're just okay with each other because they're all hustling and trying to, make a little money for themselves. But I'm done with that bullshit world.
Everybody betrayed me. I fed up with this world.
It sounds like a suicidal person.
Oh, my God.
They're all just hustling. You mean they're doing each other's shows and gaining an audience from that? Yeah.
Yeah, working.
Right. Yes. I think when he said hustling, what he meant to say was working. They're all working, Sal, and making money.
Yeah.
I think he's a little bit jealous about this. This is a bad format for you, Opie. It's really all coming out right now. All right. I got a bunch more clips here.
Good.
This is a great episode.
Just getting warmed up.
Yeah, just getting warmed up.
I actually thought that Sam and E-Rock were friends of mine. And then
he thought E-Rock was friends with him. I've talked to E-Rock about this. E-Rock has reached out to Opie wanting to get together for lunch or to grab dinner or a drink and hash this out. And Opie has refused to meet with him. And he's like, I thought we were friends. He wants to be your friend, dummy. E-Rock's the one guy, I don't know why. I mean, he's just a nice guy, but he actually wants to be his friend. And Opie's going, man, everyone's betraying me. Well, no, Opie, you ran into the control room, motherfucked E-Rock, and left the show on your Sirius afternoon show, and you've never talked to him since. Like, why do you think this is an E-Rock problem? This is an Opie problem.
But to say these guys are friends, I swear to you, you don't know how laughable that actually is.
He didn't say they're friends. He said they're cool with each other. You turned it into friends, you moron. I love people who change the question and then tell you you're an idiot for asking it.
It's fabrication, but he's doing it to himself.
Yes.
It's amazing.
I don't think he's doing it on purpose.
No.
I think he's just a dumb person who's mentally ill.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's a bad combination.
Oh, but then when you tell him that, he gets very butthurt.
Seek help, Opie. Why do I need to seek help? You want to explain further? Why? Because I'm happy and I'm living a decent life right now. Why? What?
Literally no one doing well does YouTube shows where they bash all of their ex-coworkers one after the other.
And then claim they're happy.
Right! Honestly, I know what it's like to be happy in life. This ain't it. Like, what Opie's doing right now ain't happiness. He is not doing well. And I love the fact that he's decided that he can't be mentally ill because people he used to work with are more mentally ill than he is.
Why am I the mentally ill one? When you could choose me, Anthony, or Jimmy, why the fuck would I be the mentally ill one for real?
Why are we choosing? Opie, let's say Jim Norton has mental illness, that doesn't mean that you're fine. It doesn't. By the way, I grabbed this as an ISO, and this is funny.
Why am I the mentally ill one?
That's a great one. Actually, at Dead Carl 2 on Twitter sent that to me. It made sure that I grabbed that clip because it's pretty funny. So then someone asks about one of Jim Norton's new characters.
After Jimmy's Paul Bell video, by comparison, you're Donny Osmond. What's a Paul Bell video? I blocked those guys a long time ago. I honestly don't know what a Paul Bell video. Does he have another character? Does he? Does he have another character where he can just walk up the street mumbling to himself, and then you look at him and go, oh my God, there's no microphones on or anything? He actually does this when no one's around? Oh my God, this is fucking creepy. But I'm the one that needs to seek some help. All right.
Yeah, so he does have a new character named Paul Bell. And I was just checking out Paul Bell's Twitter, and it gets 30 times the number of engagements that Opie does. A made-up person that Jim just came up with recently is getting way more interest from people than Opie's actual personality. And again, Opie projecting like, oh, well, Jim's got a new character. He must be crazy. He must be a crazy person. That proves that I'm not a crazy person. Well, no, it most certainly does not. So again, what Opie's doing on this episode, which I find fascinating, only because we've documented what his excuses have been over the years, is now he's saying it was everyone's fault but him that they ganged up on him.
Man, you never want to be the odd man out, I'll tell you that much. Because I didn't get along with Anthony. Jimmy sniffed at, got close with Anthony. Then those two were against me. Oh, boy, you never want to be the odd man out in a threesome. That's for sure, man. That is for sure. You will not win that game. So I just try to tell the truth as best I can. That's all I could do.
So what he just said there, Anthony didn't get along with Opie. Jim picked up on this and said, I better choose sides, and chose Anthony's side. And then they ganged up on him. There was a time, I'm going to say it again, that Opie admitted he was difficult to work with. And now he's just going, they just chose me to gang up on. I was, they 2 against 1. They had to go some way, and it was just happened to be me. No, it's because you were a fucking insufferable douche, Opie. Everyone hated working with you. I did a podcast years ago. It was our episode 107, the Opie radio show. It was the first time I ever talked about Opie on here. I was getting emails from former producers and coworkers of Opie saying, thank you for doing this show. Opie is hated by everyone he used to work with. And I wish he would just acknowledge that and try to get better. Instead, he's turned it around again. And this is mental illness. He's turned it around again because he used to admit that. And now he's going, they're all assholes. I still have friends. And Jim hated Sam. And Sam hated E-Rock. And Anthony hated E-Rock. Like, what?
Again, it's that childish thing of it's got to be 2 versus 1, and it's all black and white. No, yeah. There's no reasoning. I couldn't go in and say, hey, I'm just detecting a little blah, blah, bling. And,
you could have been an adult about it.
Oh, it's 2 versus 1. I'm out of here.
You could have been an adult about it and like ask them to their faces, like, what's going on here, guys?
Communicate.
Yeah. I feel like I'm the odd man out. What's going on?
Right. That would be
a good question to ask
lead-in, yeah.
When you're making millions of dollars in a job that you want to potentially keep going with. But guess who's making the dumb career moves? Not Opie.
And Anthony spent, I don't know, a couple hours just beating the living shit out of me on his show. And I'm here to say I think it was the dumbest thing he's ever done in his career. Because he literally split the audience. He was trying to just turn half the audience against me. And I think he was pretty successful with that, I guess.
Opie giving Anthony career advice is the most laughable thing I have ever heard. Opie was unemployed, talking to himself. I mean, these videos are great because you can see his screen, his computer screen, in the window behind him, and he's staring at himself. He's literally staring at him doing these. He's got his sunglasses on, his little beanie on. He thinks he looks fucking hip, and he's on there going, Anthony fucking trashed me. Terrible career move.
I think it was a really, really dumb business move. I really do. I think the days of us doing a radio show day in and day out was over, but there was plenty left there to keep the O&A brand together. And he's pretty much has made that impossible now.
What a terrible career move Anthony made. By the way, Anthony is on the latest episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, the biggest podcast in the world. Anthony's a guest on that show. You can check that out on Spotify if you'd like to. Is Opie going to be on Joe? Opie, you should reach out to Joe. Joe, what's up? You should reach out to him. See if you can get on, or have him on your show. Let's see what happens there. So he's explaining that Anthony's made a bad career choice. This is a video entitled Opie Pushes Back Against the O&A Lies and Garbage. It has 10,000 fewer views than a video I uploaded called The Opie Radio Podcast Still Sucks. So it's not my opinion that Opie is wrong here. It's a fact. It's a measurable fact. And people say I'm kissing Anthony's ass. No, I'm a fan of Anthony because he's funny. Anthony's the talented one who's funny. It has nothing to do with taking sides and, oh, you'll never say anything about Anthony. I enjoy Anthony. I think he's a funny guy, and I like his show. And Opie, keep these fucking hits coming, man. Wow. Wow. Dynamite stuff. Very impressive.